Hello there, and welcome to episode 3 of Dime Life with Rachel the Dime Diva. So, if you guys thought that you were in my business for the first two episodes of Dime Life, you're really about to be in my business this time because episode 3 is all about dating after divorce. So, I'm going to pretty much tell you the three phases of dating that I've gone through after separating from my ex husband in November of 2020, all the way up until present ish, and tell you the progression of how I got here, the different things that I had to deconstruct, and how dating is now a completely different ballgame from when I was dating in my 20s before I got married. So, buckle in for the ride. Uh, Backstory on me, basically, just giving you a rundown of where I came from as a dater. I was raised in a very conservative household. I was raised in the Church of Christ, and I often say now that I feel like I was groomed to be a wife. So I never really was focused on being a girlfriend. I was never really focused on being a fiance. I was focused on becoming a wife. And this started in my high school days. I was focused on like, okay, is this going to be my husband or what? And now this is also borne out by the fact that my two younger sisters, Lauren and Megan, both actually married their high school sweethearts. So I think that tells you about how our minds were fixed on the prize, which was to get married. And there was really not a lot of options given on whether or not that was going to be our path. So, because of that, I never really got a lot of experience dating around, trying to see what I liked, what I didn't like, or playing the field per se, because I was more so fixed and focused on finding my husband. And so, fast forward to when I was in my early 20s, I was out of college and I had a couple of relationships that uh, didn't end up panning out to marriage. And I was an early adopter of online dating. Excuse me. I chose to date on eHarmony because I noticed that a lot of times men tend to be more visual creatures, and so men would see me, they would like what they saw, but they would not really be so interested in finding out who I was as a person and if we were in alignment as a person. They would be more so concerned with like trying to present themselves to be who they thought that I wanted them to be. So I liked eHarmony because they were the ones that gave me matches, and I was able to kind of determine from there if the person and I were on the same page. So I ended up meeting my ex-husband on eHarmony in 2014, and we got married later that year. So, due to some, life, right? Life happens. We ended up having a daughter and we ended up splitting up shortly thereafter. And we're still on great terms to this day. He is one of my best friends. My ex husband and I are able to call each other, provide support, and, be emotionally available for each other as well. And so we'll definitely do a Dime Life episode at some point on co-parenting because I've had a lot of people ask me, how are you able to co-parent so well with your ex-husband? And it really is truly grace, but it's also the fact that we really are similar people, we're compatible, and we have each other's best interests at heart. So back to 2020, I became single in the height of the pandemic in November of 2020. And that was phase one of my dating after divorce, which was hermit mode. Okay. Some people right after divorce go into like, let's go, let's explore, let's do our thing. But I think for me, the combination of having a newborn, being the height of the pandemic, and then also um, just trying to get back on my feet in terms of my career led me to just be very singularly focused. And so after my separation from my ex-husband, I did not date again for about over 2 years. It was not until 2022 that I began dating again. And so that was hermit mode. And I think I share that to normalize for any women that feel like I got divorced, but I'm not back out there yet. I don't feel ready. That is totally okay. You don't have to be ready on anyone else's timeline. And if you want to prioritize your children, if you want to prioritize yourself, that is totally normal and it's totally okay. I don't feel like I missed out on anything by waiting 2.5 years. Ultimately, it just allowed me to mature and grow more so that when I got back out into the field for dating, I was ready to be a little bit more in tune with myself and focus on my own goals as it pertained to dating. So around the end of 2022, beginning of 2023, I began dating again. And the focus for me on this phase was reconstructing. And when I say reconstructing, I mean, I was almost trying to rebuild the family that I had lost by separating from my ex-husband. And I think a lot of us go through this as divorcees. We think, okay, well, I lost a spouse, so I need to find a new one. And so I went out into the dating world and I kind of went back into the mode of looking for serious relationships, looking for husband material, looking for someone to come into the household with myself and my daughter and be a father figure to her. And I just thank God that during that phase of reconstruction, it did not work out. I had a couple of relationships during that time, one that was relatively lengthy and could have led to marriage. But I felt something in my spirit say that the possessiveness was not comporting with my newfound sense of freedom and my newfound sense of empowerment. And being someone's wife in the sense that I was previously was not feeling in tune and in line with what felt most authentic to me. And at this point, during the reconstruction phase, I started to realize, you know what? Before I reconstruct, I really got to deconstruct. I got to tear down all of the societal norms that I have in my mind. I have to tear down all of the preconceived notions that I have in my head. I have to tear down all of the religious ideology that I've been fed. And I need to look inside myself and be honest and real and say, what is it that you want out of a relationship? And what is it that you need in this time to unlock a romance that actually is in tune with who you are as a person? And so that led me to the deconstruction phase. And that's the phase that I'm still in now. So that phase for me started off with 9 months of singleness. And when I say single, you guys, I mean I was single. I mean for 9 months, no dates. I was not texting anybody. I did not have a roster. I was not engaging in any type of adult activities. I was simply doing me. And when I tell you, for both men and women, I think those periods of self-love are so critical because that's for me when I started to take off spiritually. I started to take myself out on dates. I started to really focus on doing my affirmations in the mirror. I began to get into my journaling and meditation. and even start to reflect on my job and all the things that I discussed in the prior to Dime Life episodes. All of that came together and coalesced during that 9 month period. And I think it's so fitting that typically it takes, 9 to 10 months to gestate a human child. And in this case, it took me 9 months to really birth a sense of personal identity in that deconstruction to allow me to feel comfortable enough to be honest with myself about what I was really looking for in a relationship. And so in future videos, we will kind of break down the different aspects of a relationship that I'm looking for that I realized were authentic for me. But for sure, things that and we'll kind of break down what each of these mean in future videos. But for sure, I knew that I did not want to have really strict, defined gender roles in my relationship. We grew up in a household, my sisters and I, that it was very much focused on biblical womanhood, biblical manhood, which has, in my opinion, some really great aspects. But there's some aspects of it for me that I don't personally vibe with or agree with. And so I think that that was critical for me to admit to myself, is that I don't want somebody who's going to say you can't have a job. I don't want somebody to say that you have to stay at home with the kids. I don't want somebody that's not going to see me as a equal partner in the relationship. I want to search for relationship partners that have an egalitarian type of mindset regarding relationships. Number two, something that was really important to me was that my relationships not be territorial. I feel that in a patriarchy and a misogynist society, there's a lot of focus on taming women, making sure that women are under control, locking women down, trying to ensure that, a woman is never touched by anyone else. And to me, it just screams of toxic masculinity, because ultimately we're each free individuals and we have free will. And so I want a partner who chooses me every day, not somebody who feels like, okay, I got you, so now I don't have to do any work anymore. The third thing that I realized that I wanted in a relationship is a alignment in our purpose, mission, and view on the world. And that's one thing that I had in my marriage that I think allows us to be amazing co-parents today, is that we have a similar viewpoint on the things that are important in this life. And so we don't get caught up in petty stuff, because we ultimately know, like, this is the important things in life. These are the things that are crucial. And if those are not at stake, then let's just forget it. Let's let it be, right? Let's not make a big deal out of it. And then fourth, for me personally, I realized that I was done having kids. So I feel like in our society, it's almost a little bit taboo to have a only child. Honestly, like, I've had people ask me since my daughter was like 2 years old when I'm gonna have another child, and I'm not going to. And so that's been an aspect that I've had to grapple with. One of the reasons that a prior relationship did not work out, and really just standing firm on that. As a woman, I believe that women should only have the amount of children that they feel capable and able to take care of by themselves. And obviously this isn't a heteronormative relationship, assuming that you have a relationship between a man and a woman. But in any relationship, if a person is going to be the one bearing a child in their body, that person needs to be able to, in my opinion, needs to be able to be confident to know that they can take care of that child by themselves. They don't need the other person, because unfortunately life's right. Crazy things happen, and you can choose the best partner in the world, but life happens to all of us. And so for me, I feel that all I can handle with my career, with my aspirations, with my own personal human design profile, which is something that I would love to talk to you guys about in the future, my own personal energy level, the fact that I like to go out with friends, and the fact that I like to have hobbies and do my own thing, I can't handle more than one because kids are a lot of work. Having multiple children is a lifestyle choice. So for me, that's the phase that I'm at in my dating, is the deconstruction phase. And I believe that, you know, as I deconstruct, there will be a time that I'm ready to like rebuild um again on a stronger foundation. And I will definitely keep you guys updated as I go through that process. So, yeah, thank you for letting me share my journey, and I hope that this resonates with some of you that have gone through either divorces or breakup of long-term relationships, or are, you know, dating later in life. And yeah, I will see you all next time for episode 4. Bye.